I'm Mo Rocca, and I'm excited to announce Season 4 of my podcast, Mobituaries. I've got a whole new bunch of stories to share with you about the most fascinating people and things who are no longer with us. From famous figures who died on the very same day, to the things I wish would die, like buffets. All that and much more. Listen to Mobituaries with Mo Rocca wherever you get your podcasts.
Inspired by the life of the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman Griselda Blanco comes a new Netflix original limited series. Griselda tells the story of a devoted mother who, with her lethal blend of charm and relentless savagery, creates one of the most powerful cartels in history. Witness Sofia Vergara's captivating transformation into the godmother of the underworld. Griselda, now streaming only on Netflix.
Bernigan, ABCs. Welcome to the Bare Naked ABCs 2020 resolution show.
Thank goodness that year is over.
Yeah. We are done with 2020, and looking back, I have no regrets about the year.
No records.
But I do have some regrets about my scores. So tonight we're going to go back through. We're going to make resolutions for this coming year, and we're going to redress our regrets for last year and maybe fix some of our scores and hopefully give some thoughts out about this following year. I do want to say I don't think that 2020 was all bad. There were some good things that came out of 2020, especially from Bare Naked Ladies. We got them singing the selfie cam jams. Never would have gotten that otherwise. We got Ed singing from home, and he had his kids come in and join in. We had Steven doing his live from home shows.
Yeah, that was good.
Over 30 of them in a year. That's, I mean, at $8 a pop, that's a pretty darn good deal to see him doing a new performance every week. We got to see all of the Dapper Dans from Disney World doing their rendition of Grim Grinning Ghosts together. That was amazing. Okay, that's about only the good. That's all the good things from 2020. But those are still pretty good.
There were other good things.
We're stuck at home. There were?
Yeah. Yeah. There were other good things came out of 2020. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
The horror movie scene was excellent this year.
Oh yes, the horror movie scene was excellent.
There,
Host was wonderful.
Not just Host, but yeah, Host definitely. But
Haunting of Bly Manor.
Haunting of Bly Manor.
Haunting of Bly House.
Mortuary Collection Scare Me. Spiral was amazing. 1BR. Impetigore. La Llorona. It's just been an endless onslaught of really good horror. Cleansing Hour. Yeah.
People are like, we can make you more scared than you currently are.
Yeah, right.
It makes us feel better. We're like, okay, at least we're not being haunted.
I think it's cathartic. I think horror is cathartic, especially in a year like that.
In this year, we needed Schadenfreude really bad.
Yeah.
It's time for us to get ready for the new year. But before we do that, we do need to go back through and redress this year. We need to discuss if there are things that we want to fix for our scores. And as always, Aaron, you got a little bit of catching up to do first. You have like 12 songs to catch up on.
I'm having flashbacks to not doing my homework for the entire year and doing it all the last night before the end of the semester. I feel like I'm back in grade 9, Tracy.
Oh, nice.
Grade 9.
Speaking of grade 9, what do you think?
Lightning round. So it's poppy and upbeat and fun. It's got kind of a Huey Lewis Goes Ska feel about it. Sans horns, of course, but I guess it kind of reminds me of working for a living. High school anxiety is a topic that is well known to me, so it's pretty relatable. I also like Duran Duran. I like them probably a little more than I like this song, but I do like this song. It's catchy. It sounds like, of all the gang, Eddie had the easiest time in high school. I liked, yeah, they called me Eddie. I like the reference to playing Stairway to Heaven at the end of the school dance and the Rush musical reference, of course. It's not a 5 for me, but it's definitely in the 4s. It's a very solid song. I probably would give it a solid 4.2 A's out of 5.
All right, that is definitely respectable.
Starting off strong.
Let's move on to the next one. Great Provider.
Great Providers. So the theme of a strained father and son relationship hit home, and the Catholicism references were fitting in with it also. It's a downbeat song, so of course I like it. The chorus lyrical hook, where does the time go when it's not around here? I'm curious as to the exact meaning. It's evocative to me of a particular feeling, but I don't know if I'm missing some fact or reference that would make it more explicit. Do you guys have any deeper insight into this song?
Nope, no idea where that came from.
I like it.
It was definitely an Ed song about his relationship with his dad.
That explains a lot, because Ed tends to be a little more cryptic and Steven tends to be a little more on the nose. So that makes sense to me. Very nice Rhodes work on the Rhodes organ. I love that. That is super nice, lovely.
Good job, Andy.
Yeah, fantastic. Tickling of the ivories there, or the digital ivories. The ending has themes of abandonment or emancipation, depending, I guess, on whether you're a pessimist or an optimist. And also ties into the father being like a godlike figure. We have some Jungian imagery there. I really like this one a lot, probably no surprise. I give it 4.5 years out of 5.
Nice.
I'm surprised it wasn't rated as very highly by the guests that week. I see you gave it a 4.15, Tracy. Green Christmas. I started off thinking, oh, it's a bright and upbeat Christmas song. I'm, of course, this show's equivalent of The Grinch. But, interestingly enough, the green is the green of envy, which fits in kind of perfectly with what I was feeling at first. Interesting. The line, all this mistletoe, no kiss. I thought it was interesting. I'm not sure exactly what perspective it's writing from, if it's just a character, or if it's maybe
Grinch.
Is it pretty much? Oh, is it written as from The Grinch?
This was written for specifically the 2002 Grinch, the Jim Carrey Grinch.
I have a confession to make. I have never seen that.
And it was the lead, and it was in the movie itself.
Wow. Okay. Well, I've wanted to see it for some time.
I recommend it. I really like it. I know that people have their thoughts about it, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's harmless. Seussian.
Yeah, I think it's a good movie. It's fun.
Mostly harmless.
It's just one of those things. I think people will tell you it's like offensive. It's so bad and offensive. I don't see that. I mean, is it like a great...
I hear that more about the Cat in the Hat movie.
Yeah, right. That's more of an example of that.
I haven't seen that either.
It's just fun.
I want to see it because one of Becca's favorite artists, actually, Taylor Momsen from Pretty Reckless, which amazing band. If you have not heard Pretty Reckless, check them out, because holy moly, they're like very Alice in Chainsy. Yeah, real aggressive edge to them and really, really cool. But anyways, Taylor Momsen was apparently Cindy Lou Who in that movie, so she was this cute and adorable little elfin girl, and she grew up to be this amazing, awesome, totally dark metal chick, and she's great. So I kind of want to see it just for the contrast, because I knew her first from the Pretty Reckless. So I think I'll watch it this year with Becca. We'll watch it together. I didn't know this was actually used. Guys, just knowing that, I was gonna give this a 3.9 who's I guess who's down in Whoville. Yeah, I was gonna give this a 3.9. I think I have to give this a 4 who's out of 5, knowing that it actually, I was just using the Grinch reference as, I'm kind of the preliminary, preemptively cranky old man. So knowing that it actually was written for the Grinch Stole Christmas movie, and from the perspective of the Grinch, it's kind of amazing, actually. I think that actually elevates it just slightly up into the 4s for me. So I'm going to give it 4 who's out of 5. Nice.
I didn't realize I had editing power in this. That's awesome.
You do have editing power. Do not abuse
you can
the
just
editing
completely cut me out of the show if you want.
No changing the scores for Aaron.
I thought it was actually adding scores for me, honestly.
I thought it was okay. I give it a 5 out of 5.
Gonna make, maybe you should drive the best B&L album if it kills me.
Well, speaking of Christmas. You also missed all of the Hanukkah songs, so let's go with
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah Blessings next.
Hanukkah Blessings. I had high hopes for this one. So high. My hopes were very high because Jewish folk music often uses harmonic minor or Phrygian modes and has this sort of questing or longing feeling which appeals to me greatly. This song was your kind of typical upbeat acoustic coffee shop holiday song. It was well done. And it was nice to see some representation from my Jewish friends. I can't hate it, but I don't love it. I would probably put it on at a holiday party to show some solidarity, but I don't think I would really seek it out otherwise. Mostly, I see this as a missed opportunity for a more interesting song. So I have to give, reluctantly, 3 blessings out of 5 for Hanukkah Blessings.
Oh, that drops it below a 4. So
Sorry.
Just below 3.98.
My 4.4 did not help it. I actually do give that a 4.4, but
yeah, I gave it a 3.5. So it's not. We're in the same ballpark.
I do enjoy that song. Probably.
Well, let's go to the next one. Hanukkah, though.
Now, this is exactly what I was looking for. I love the minor key and the Middle Eastern / Eastern European kind of classic Jewish folk sound. It reminds me of when I ran the soundboard for Fiddler on the Roof at the Waterville Opera House. Beautiful. It's classic. It's got basically this is exactly what I was hoping Hanukkah Blessings would sound like. So it really kind of, while I was slightly disappointed by that one, this one did not let me down. I give Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, 4 enthusiastic horas out of 5 and a lakayim to grow on.
I can't put that in there.
What?
I don't know how to monetize that.
4 horas plus a lakayim. No, the lakayim is just a little flourish, you know.
Oh, okay.
It's 4 out of 5. It's a very, very good song. And one of my favorites, if not my favorites, of the holiday songs, I think. Probably the highest rated. I really like Jewish folk music, so that was cool.
Well, you've covered all the Jewish songs, but I have a question for you, Aaron.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen My Love? And what do you give that song?
And will you address the elephant in the room? Which is that line?
Hold on. We'll see. I'm going to check my notes here. I listened to a lot of songs in preparation for this, so maybe you guys can jog my memory if I don't address it. Well, I wrote another classic bittersweet love song. It's kind of classic country in a way. It doesn't have the twang, but I mean old school country like Georgia on My Mind, that kind of song. It's really a lovely little tune, and honestly, I could hear like Mumford & Sons or the Decemberists covering this, and I think that would be kind of interesting. I'm not totally in love with this one, no pun intended, but I think I like it better than you, Jeff, who gave it a 3.5. Sorry, you gave it a 3, and Tracy gave it a 3.5. I actually think I like it a little better than you guys. A not insignificant part of me wants to rate it a 4 or higher just because I think its average score should be higher, but I can't do that. I have to go with my honest reaction. I'm going to give Have You Seen My Love 3.9 love languages out of 5.
So in terms of that line that Jeff was mentioning.
Yeah, what line were you referring to?
It's the, you go
calling the other person a little girl. Have you seen my little girl? And if people want to hear more about that line, they can go back and listen to Jeff and I.
Now I'm going to go listen to that episode because I'm very curious. No, is there anything? Was there anything ever stated officially by the band about that, or did someone question? Okay, is this all just Reddit theories?
No, we just felt very.
It feels awkward.
Wrong.
It's an awkward line.
It's not a turn of phrase that I would use.
Was this an original, or is this like an old song?
This is an original.
Yeah.
Because
I would have totally been willing to believe this was like an old country song that I didn't know.
Yeah. And I think the country part comes from Ed, and then he
tends to bring that.
Right.
And then the old part kind of comes from Steven in that 60s root, which is where I think that word comes from. But
Yeah, well, now that you mention it, I feel kind of weirded out about it. So thanks for ruining that one for me.
Speaking of this song, like I've had to live with it for 125 or for 25 years.
Every day. Huh?
Aaron, I had to live with it every day. Well, maybe not. Aaron, what do you think of the song I Live With It Every Day?
This was a very interesting song. It starts off with that synth bass pumping along, driving, although not super fast, drums, nice vocal harmonies to start us out. It's definitely different, and you know me, I like the different, eclectic kind of stuff that BNL produces. I will say I was unsure how much I liked it until I heard "Everyone falls through time and the funnel it makes, but I'm staying here inside my biggest mistake."
Perfect.
That
line.
is
Yeah.
fantastic writing, because I think we all have those moments that we just kind of live inside. And obviously for someone who had an extremely traumatic event happen, has PTSD or something, that's amplified even more than I could ever imagine. I think about stupid things I said when I was a kid in the shower, you know what I mean? But like, if I had some
you
kind
think
of
about the
traumatic
stuff you said
like
in the
that,
shower, or you think about it when you're in the shower?
I don't do much talking in the shower. I sing in the shower though, much to the chagrin, I'm sure, of my neighbors if they can hear me. But no, I have those moments, I think, where I look back on things that I did or said, and I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I said that, or I can't believe I did that. But nothing traumatic like what is detailed in the lyrics of the song. But yeah, I think that's very relatable, and it's a really nice turn of phrase. The chorus is lovely. Somehow, even though it shifts to potentially more major, happier sounding chords, the chorus itself sounds somehow more melancholy. And the bridge, of course, is just straight up, it's that classic, what we talked about, kind of hitting it on the head with the bridge. So I liked all of those elements. The music, of course, is very good. I especially love the chorus. It's gorgeous, and the vocal harmonies are so pretty. But this is the song I think I appreciate for the lyrical content maybe more than the music, which is rare for me. I'm not that guy. I listen to the music first and I go to that. If the lyrics are good, that's just the icing on the cake. It's not that the music is bad. It's just that the lyrics are so good and so powerful. Yeah. I think they really are the star of the show on this one. I probably would have rated this around a 4, but the lyrics really push it up into like a 4.5 for me. So I'm going to give it 4.5 laugh lines out of 5. Now, you're talking about the laugh lines in your face?
Yes.
Like when you laugh and they give you the little wrinkles?
Yeah. Now, I have a question.
Yeah.
One of the big questions that came up during this that everyone else answered, so I want to know your opinion. Do you think that he actually killed the other child?
See, I don't know. It's a BB gun. Now, a BB gun, I think probably they used to be more dangerous, too. I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. I had a BB gun. And hypothetically, if me or my brother were to have shot each other, I don't think that, we might have broken the skin or something, but I can't imagine it penetrating someone's skull. However, again, I know back in the day, probably not as many OSHA regulations.
Back in 1981.
It's possible. And you could really overpump those. Some of the air ones that didn't really have like a regulator, you could just pump them and pump them and pump them. So it is possible. What I was wondering is if there was a personal story behind this, or if it was merely plucked out of the ether, or maybe if it was like based on a story that they told each other, like, oh, I knew this kid who pumped his BB gun up until it was like, he couldn't pump it anymore, and then he shot his friend between the eyes and it killed him.
To answer your question, I'll cut it and then
sure,
because I already said this, but yes, it's based off a true story that Steven's grandmother used to tell him when he was a kid.
Was it a cautionary tale?
It was a cautionary tale of someone that it actually happened to in the neighborhood.
Did she basically told him you'll shoot your eye out? Yeah.
Did they survive?
It's unknown.
I hope. Wow. I mean, the thing is, people are like, it's just a BB, but like if you propel a BB fast enough and you hit the right part of the body, that could be very bad. So I certainly hope that whoever was the person who was shot survived and is doing fine. But that to me answers my question to you, which was I was wondering if the second verse was related to the first or just kind of like different stories. I think it is.
I always thought they were. I thought they were related. Like it was a continuous story.
It seems to me. So
I always interpreted.
Can't get over this. Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was gonna say I always interpreted it that he actually did kill him because I think a BB shot through the eye could. I'd forgotten if it was a true story, but yeah, I always interpreted it as because of the guilt and everything the family had to put away, and then like the for sale sign on the lawn. So I've always heard it as being a continuous story. story.
It makes more sense to me if it was a true story. Yeah, that's.
And
that's
do you
crazy.
take it as a continuous story or separate stories?
I think it's a continuous story. I'm with Jeff on this. I was reading it as, okay, in the first verse, this is a traumatic experience from their childhood. They feel a tremendous amount of guilt over it. And certainly if they did kill the individual or blind them or whatever, I think he said between the eyes, which is why I don't think that he killed him. But if it was through the eye, that could definitely do it. And it's not funny. I'm just laughing. I'm not laughing that I think it's funny. I have that reaction of, the surprise twitch.
That's all right. I'll cut the laughter out.
Aaron, we'll edit it so you're not a monster.
But I'm going to leave in the part where you describe the fact that you laughed and why you laughed.
Well, I think I don't know. I guess you have that nervous reaction too, because it is a song first and foremost, and there's that kind of like you can joke and talk about a song and that uncomfortableness. But as far as like the true story element, I mean, obviously, that's
not something that's funny, right?
Yeah.
But
and then it comes back to the last chorus too, or the last verse too, where he can't accept love and he can't accept anyone thinking anything positive about him.
If you have those repeating thoughts in your head, the negative thoughts about yourself, it becomes a kind of vicious cycle where, you just can't accept that anyone else will love you. You don't feel worthy of love. And you start to have this kind of like externally projected imposter syndrome, to try and put it on a lighter note, to quote Woody Allen. No, it wasn't Woody Allen. I think it was Groucho Marx. I wouldn't want to be I wouldn't want to be a member of any club that have someone like me as a member. So, yeah.
Well, speaking of Groucho Marx, who loved it loud and loved to laugh, Aaron, what did you think of I Love It Loud cover?
Oh, dear.
Was that about my pun, or was that about this?
That was about
cover?
The track, yeah. Look, I'll be honest, cards on the table. I am not a Kiss fan on the best of days. I find them irritating. Sometimes I'll be in a mood to put on Rock and Roll All Night and listen to it somewhat ironically. But yeah, they're not exactly a go-to for me. So obviously the boys are just kind of messing around here between real songs that it's not even a full cover, it's just a few lines. I think this hardly counts as a song. I will say this, there are good ways to take the piss out of a song, as the Brits would say, right? There's a good way to do that. Look up Biz Markie covering Benny and the Jets by Elton John with the Beastie Boys. It's hilarious. It's hysterical. I could not breathe the first time I heard it. That is gold. This is not. I'm going to give I Love It Loud or Love It Out Loud 0.5 tongues out of 5. I mean, I like it better than How's the Level, but that's not exactly a high bar to clear.
Well, let's go to the near adjacent song, which is I Love You.
I don't see the... How
well,
is
just
that
in the
adjacent?
name. Just in the name.
I was like, it's a very different song.
Thematically and musically, they're very similar songs there.
In terms of scores, we had very different reactions.
Yeah.
So, what was your reaction?
I Love You. I like the loungy, jazzy feel. Although I didn't dislike it, it took until like the second half of the second verse where you get the rapid fire vocals with the tight jazzy harmonies. Mm-hmm. That reminded me a little bit of, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of New York Voices. We sung a lot of their songs when I was in, huge shocker, I know, I'm a nerd. I was in vocal jazz choir in high school. They had some really, really tight and fast harmonies, and they were really good. I'm sure they still are. I hope that they're still together making music, but they were very talented. New York Voices, it kind of reminded me of, I wish my jazz choir actually had sung this in high school. I think my teacher was just out there enough to have been okay with it. I love the line, I like fish sticks, but I love you. That made me chuckle. I don't know how anyone would react to that kind of comparison, but even though it is a favorable comparison, I don't think I adore it as much as you and Jeff, Tracy, looking at your ratings, but it is a solid 4.15.
Fish sticks with or without cheese.
So what was it? It was fish sticks with cheese?
With or without cheese.
Okay, I give it 4.15 fish sticks. We'll say with cheese. Du fromage.
I was going to say, didn't we actually name our cheese on there too, if I remember correctly?
We did. We had to name the cheese that we would put with the fish sticks on.
Was it named Brie Larson?
Can you have fish sticks with Brie Larson in the room? I vote for that.
I would enjoy some fish sticks with Brie Larson.
Brie, come on the show. We know you listen.
Brie, we watched your movie. Matter of fact, I saw it.
Aaron, okay.
What's your rating on I
wondering
saw
where
it?
you were going with that. I'm like, wait, like Captain Marvel or okay. I saw it. This has almost a Joshua Tree era U2 feel to it for me, which that's my favorite U2 album. I'm not a huge U2 fan, but that is a damn good album. I like the driving feel of the song, and the lyrics belie a much darker potential story than the music might necessarily suggest on its face. It really stood out to me. We won't allow this, brother. If we don't end this now, there will be others. So the narrator is looking to protect someone from something. Brother might just be being used poetically here, but it could be actual brothers being bullied or even abused. The playground being mentioned repeatedly makes it potentially quite disturbing. But the music itself is actually quite beautiful. I really do actually like this one a lot. As you know, I'm a big fan of when the music is pretty and the lyrics are kind of disturbing or vice versa. So I give it 4 seesaws out of 5.
All right. How many ships do you see when we talk about I saw 3 ships?
Well, here we are in a festive time, and this is a classic Christmas carol. Look, I don't hate it. Of all the Christmas carols out there, this one isn't bad, and I really like their sea shanty kind of delivery. That was nice. That kind of elevates it to me. Plus, it's mercifully short and sweet. So I saw 3 ships, 3.25 ships out of 5. Maybe they had 4 ships, and one of them had a cannonball hit it, and now it's just kind of sinking. But it's 3.25. They still have 3 1/4 ships.
Wow, I drank the haterade on that one, didn't I?
What did you rate that, Jeff?
1.5 is mine.
To me, this kind of reminded me almost of like who did Shipping Up to Boston? The Irish rock band. Why can't I think of it now?
I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of it either.
Dropkick Murphys. But it kind of, I mean, they're obviously pretty heavy. This was not really heavy, but it had that kind of Irish sea shanty quality, and that appealed to me. I liked it. So I was kind to this one.
We are on the last song, and I have
goodness.
to say the song that I've been looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the most for the last month and a half. So, Aaron, what are your thoughts about In the Car?
Well, yeah, as you say, I know you've been waiting on my thoughts on this one for a while, Tracy. First, it's got a great classic rock feel, and the subject matter, of course, is sort of evocative of like Meatloaf, although the music is not exactly in his style. One note that I had was the ending of the verse has like a Jethro Tull feel, minus the flute, of course, but his vocal delivery and the staccato jumps definitely made me think of Ian Anderson. I love the lyric, "We were groping for excuses." It's an exquisite double entendre, 10 out of 10 for that. It's a song that conjures to mind young love, or at least young lust. Not the song by Pink Floyd, mind you, although I suppose that as well. I was reminded of the Depeche Mode parody at the beginning of Enid, the horror as your mom comes downstairs. The repeated references to this make me think this might have been an actual experience that Stephen had. It's not quite a 5 for me, but it is definitely a good one. And the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. Very well done, and with enough interesting things going on musically to make it stand out from more of a typical kind of song. I understand we're using bridges for the rating for this one. Would anyone care to explain that to me?
You know, sometimes I'm in the moment when I come up with the scale. I don't remember.
I'm going to go on the limb and guess that someone said this section kind of sounds bridgy.
Bridgy,
like
yes, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
I was like, what the heck are you guys talking about?
Like, this is not a bridge, but it sounds bridgy.
Yeah.
I think exactly what.
I think you're talking about that section that I like where he's kind of hopping around and he's got the staccato vocals. I like that's probably my favorite part of the song. It's interesting. It's gonna be in my it's definitely at least a 4, right? It's gonna be in my best of playlist. I would award In the Car 4.4 bridges out of 5. I think it's quite good.
All right. And believe it or not, Aaron, that puts you as the one with the haterade that week.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I noticed that.
Who was the guest that night?
Our guest that
like
night
2 5s from the
was
guests, I think, wasn't it?
Allie.
Allie and I were on a 5. Yeah, I think we disagreed on some stuff to get there, but we ended up at the same score.
Oh yeah,
I think you were like a 4.9, weren't you, Tracy? It was like almost
4.5. I was the lowest at the time, but I mean, it was still great.
Stefan has a 4.6 on that, which wow. I forgot that was
All right, so before I go too much further and start doing the tallying, which that's going to take me a couple of minutes, and I'll let you guys kind of vamp while I do that. Aaron, are there any changes from this year? You just covered 12 songs, but do you have any changes from this year that you want to go back?
I have
scores
a few,
you regret.
And then mercifully someone else can talk. So I know this was recent, but I think I mentioned that I might do it. I'm going to raise my rating for It's Only Me from 4 to 4.2 out of 5. I came back to it and listened to it some more, and it's just such a fun tune. I think it deserves a little better.
All right. Any other changes, or is that it?
How's the level? This clearly deserves a 5. No, I can't even say it with a straight face. No revision for that one. Go Home, I think this deserves a 4 out of 5 from me. Upbeat and happy sounding tunes have kind of an uphill battle with me. I think I was a little harsh on this one.
All right.
Jeff, you went away for a moment. You'll want to know that I upgraded my rating for It's Only Me.
I did hear that. That made me very happy.
Falling for the First Time. I like the detuned guitars. And I just think it's a better song than the 3.5 I initially gave it. I'm still not sure it's a 4 for me, but I think it deserves at least a 3.8 from me. So it's moving it up a little more. Still not as infatuated with it as pretty much everyone else was, but I don't love it, but I do like it a lot.
Which one
it's a solid Falling for the First Time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then finally, Gangster Girl. Honestly, just because it's an a cappella doo-wop song, which is not necessarily the kind of song I'm inclined to seek out and listen to with great frequency, it is really well done. And I feel like we were all 4, and then Dave, of course, came out and gave it a 5. And while I can't quite put it in the company of Enid and Alcohol and Brian Wilson and The Flag, I want to give it a 4.1, just a tiny bump, because it is a fun tune and it's well done, and it's just a nice little addition to that film that kind of elevates it that much. So that's it for me.
Speaking of which, just recently, they actually did do a cast meet and greet in order to raise money for Georgia for the re-elections. And they had Mark Hamill come on as Seth Rogen, and they had Steven come on and play Gangster Girl himself.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
So that I unfortunately did not get a chance to see it. I had family obligations at the time, but as I understand from people I talked to, it was amazing.
Very cool.
So Jeff, you're about 100 songs behind you and Stefan.
I'm really slacking on this.
All right, so if you want to tune out for the next hour, no, I'm just kidding, listeners. So here's the deal.
Okay.
I've heard from a number of people, they want to hear Jeff and Stefan's thoughts on stuff. Like, these guys, I guess, are like interesting or something versus me.
It's not accurate, but thank you.
So I have been thinking long and hard on a way to make this show pay for itself a little bit rather than me constantly diving in and putting money into it. So what my thoughts were in the next couple of months, hopefully by New Year's Eve, but maybe not, we'll see. We are going to set up a Patreon, and every other week we will be releasing an interview with Jeff and Stefan where they will be talking about their thoughts of each of the songs going all the way back to 2020 hindsight and working their way forward. So I'm not going to make you and Stefan cover every single song that we've covered so far. We'll be doing that in the Patreon. But Jeff, do you have any scores that you want to go back and adjust that you've already given?
Okay. Yes, I do. So I was looking through my scores. Get in Line would be the first one I would change. I get nostalgic about Get in Line just because that was one of the first ones I bumped into because I got the Greatest Hits album pretty early on. I do like the song a lot, but the more I think about it, is it up there with, what I would do a 5-star song or a 5-point song? So I think that one's a little high for me. It's still a great song, and it will always be on my playlist, but I got to bring that down more into Aaron and Tracy territory. I'm going to give that one a 4.5.
All right.
What else have I done? That was my
anything that's in your column.
Anything that, yeah. This was back when I was still sporadic before I basically took over or something. I don't know what I did. No, some of these I was slowly starting to add while I was doing it, so I shouldn't do that. But
you can't throw yourself off. You came in around Holly Jolly Christmas, essentially,
officially,
and Hold My Hand. That's when you were a regular.
I'm gonna stick to that one. I've been back and forth on Home because I know I'm high on that one, but I think I'm gonna stick to my guns on that one. How long? I know I really kind of bashed it originally.
We all bashed that one.
It is, but it's better than I said it was. I don't know if I can quite go into the two. Wow, Aaron gave it a 3.76.
Yeah,
against the grain, baby.
I'm gonna bring it up to a 1.9.
All right.
How's the level? Actually, really hard on that one. It's a really solid number. I'm gonna do a 4. I'm kidding. Don't color code it.
Stole my joke.
That stays the same. I'm joking. I'm not changing it. I think I was actually too good on I know. Because I was listening to Pirate the other day. I was listening to Pirate Ship, and I'm just like, I don't enjoy that song as much as I should. I feel like. So we're gonna bring that down to a 3. We'll bring it down to a 3.1.
Okay.
Not budging on that one. I Saw 3 Ships.
All right.
It's a Kevin Christmas number. It's Christmas time. Maybe I'm in the spirit. Maybe I was rough on my boy a little bit there. I don't know if I'd listen to it over and over and over. So we're gonna bump that up to. We're gonna bring that up to a solid 2.
All right.
And
if there's another change, I'm going to let you fix it because I have to start doing something real quick here. I'll let you make the change in there.
Okay. And as we were talking about it, I was walking away with It's Only Me. I do love that song more than like I said, that's the one that got me into BNL. Can't quite go that low. I do got to bring it up to, I got to agree with Aaron here. I'm going to bring it up to a 4.2. So we're going to raise that just a notch.
It's a good song. It's solid.
It is a good song. It's a really good song. And I think sometimes the nostalgia gets on my way and I'm like, is it really that good? I love it. I'd never turn it off. If it comes on, it's playing.
Yeah. Especially the way that the verse just goes longer the second time around. There's something about that just makes me smile every time.
Build and everything. Yeah. I love it. So yeah, I think that one should be a little bit higher than I rated it.
Don't freak out. Everything's going to look totally different.
Everything's moving. I have Inline Boat Line on here. I do. I love the message of the song. But I did say back at the beginning, I said the chorus bothers me. There's something about the chorus I'm not a huge fan of. And I think when we were talking about it, as we talked about it, my score went up. But I think I got to stick to what I originally was feeling with that. So I'm going to bring that one down to a 4.
Which one was that, Jeff?
Inline Boat Line.
Yeah, that's such a tough one.
I love the sentimentality of it.
Yeah.
I love the message of it. It's got a really good message, but I don't like the chorus. It doesn't quite resonate with me.
Inline
boat line. Like I don't know. It seems anticlimactic after you're setting up, this reference to why you learned to tie the knot, because it's a really sad song. It's such a sad story. and it's written so well to set you up into it. I don't know. I feel like I wish the chorus had a little more depth to it.
I can feel that.
All right. Well, while I am going over my revisions, because I don't blame you guys if you check out. Hopefully our listeners won't. If you go down to row 387 in the spreadsheet, you will see your averages for the albums. I'll go over those in a minute, but I'm going to go, while I'm doing that, I'll give you a chance to review the numbers if you want to, while I go over my changes. Because I actually had quite a few this year. As I went through it, I felt I was a little bit too harsh on Green Christmas, actually. I felt I was a little too easy on Hanukkah, Oh Hanukkah. I liked it. I like both of those songs, but I felt like Green Christmas was a better song than what I gave it credit for, and that it was better than Hanukkah, Oh Hanukkah, especially since it is an original song. So I actually swapped those numbers. I gave Green Christmas this 4.4, and I gave Hanukkah, Oh Hanukkah a 4. Not a huge change. Right. Most of these aren't huge changes, but I felt I was a little too... I had to make that change. I felt like I was a little too nice on Grim Grinning Ghosts. I still love that song. But is it a 4.75? I think I was a little caught up in the holiday. I was a little caught up in the moment and listening to it 1,000 times that week. It affected me. It's still great, but I will say the Dapper Dan's doing it is amazing. So I have to drop it a little bit to a 4.5.
I mean, that's still pretty great, Tracy. I gave it a 4.2, and I own the Haunted Mansion soundtrack on vinyl. So, you know.
I actually have it, too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
I recently got into a nostalgic thing. I found a YouTube channel called Fast Pass Facts that goes into all the stuff with Disney and the abandoned park. Yeah, that's definitely a big thing.
Yeah, they did a great job with it. It's not a hit that I'm bringing it down a couple notches. It really isn't. And I'm doing the same thing with Having a Baby. I really enjoy Having a Baby. Is it as exquisite as I gave it, which is a 4.75? I don't think so. I think it still could have used some work. Listening to it again this week, I was like, I think I loved having this like deep dive that had disappeared and no one had heard it for a long time. But I got to drop it down to a 4.6. I feel that's more accurate for me. All right, I've done a lot of dropping. It's time to raise a few numbers a little bit. Home, I was a little too hard on Home. I still have a hard time with that song, but I think it's better than just average. I do think it's good. So I'm going to take it from a 2.9 up to a 3.3. I think that brings it up into the really good area. Not great, not fabulous, not something I'd have to hear, but still really good. And the more I listen to it this week, the more I like that.
I'm glad to hear that, because I always thought that you underrated that one a little bit.
Yeah, I was a little harsh on that one that week. I think I was just in a bad mood that week, and it really, I took it out on the song, and I apologize, Steve. I'm gonna, so the next song, the next two songs, I'm taking a little bit away. Not a huge amount, but I was a little too nice, I think.
You got us all psyched. We thought it was all going to be a raise fest from here on out, and then you went right back into dropping scores.
Oh, yeah, I got to drop a few more scores. Humongous Tree, I was still pretty good on. I was still pretty nice. Is it a 4.25? Do I think it's that good a children's song? I don't. I still think it's in that 4s. So I'm going to drop it down to a 4.
Which
I think it's Humongous Tree.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I still think it's good. I need to humble that one a little bit more. And speaking of kids' songs, I Can Sing. I think I was, again, a little too hyped up that week. I really do enjoy it, and I can listen to it over and over again. But is it, like, near perfect? No. So I'm taking it from the 4.75 down to a poor 4.5 again.
I still think Humongous Tree is better than I Can Sing.
Well, it might be. I just like it better.
I am H.O.
And finally, my last change is I saw it. And this is a raise. I finally saw the light. of I Saw It, and I'm going to raise that a little bit. I gave it a 3.1. I think I was a little hard on it. I really do enjoy the relaxed nature of it. It is and the message of it. Do I like the chorus? No, I still think the chorus is a little too simplistic. But that being said, it's still a really great song. So I'm going to put it up around a 3.75.
Nice.
So with all of these adjustments, my numbers might have changed a little bit, but I think the numbers that I figured out earlier this afternoon are pretty straight on. Based on this, my favorite album so far, we're only about halfway through right now, but my favorite album so far is Stunt, followed up by Gordon, Maroon, E2E. This one's a shocker, and I think it's just because of the songs we've covered so far. Born on a Pirate Ship.
I thought you were going to say Silverball with that preface.
No, I will say, like, so then it goes, Maybe You Should Drive, Men, Me, All in Good Time, and then, no surprise to anyone, Grinning Streak, Fake Nudes, and Silverball.
I don't think I've done a Silverball song, have I?
Looking at yours, you have not done a Silverball song yet. So
my rankings actually don't surprise me at all, really.
So let's go to Jeff's. Jeff's number one album, unless this is moved with your changes tonight, because once again, I did all my numbers earlier. Maybe You Should Drive is your...
My number one album is my favorite album, so it makes sense.
You are in a close tie. I mean, it's off by 0.02 between Maybe You Should Drive and Maroon.
Yes, and that doesn't surprise me.
It is a close run.
Yeah.
You have no scores for Grinning Streak.
That makes more sense.
Which is what I had down before. And Gordon is going to change in a second as well. If I am correct. Yeah, Gordon's going to change in a lesson. All of these are off by one. I will have to redo the numbers later, but based on what you told me earlier, your number 3 is Gordon. Your number 4 is Stunt. Your number 5.
No. Are you sure? Because I have.
All the numbers that are on the screen are a little bit off.
Right.
They're off by one number. I have to refix the calibration later on. Then you have Men. Oh no, you have Army, Men, Fake Nudes, Born on a Pirate Ship, All in Good Time, E2E, and Silverball. So you kind of have a blend there at the end of
E2E. That actually seems low to eat. All right, we'll have to work on it.
And this is earlier. I did do it out, and these were.
There's
accurate.
a lot of E2E songs I like that we haven't done yet, though.
Aaron, do you want to know what your favorite albums are?
Yes, please.
So far, your favorite albums are Stunt, Gordon, Maroon, Maybe You Should Drive.
This all makes sense to me so far.
Yep. Then we have Me.
Okay.
E2E.
Really?
Everything to Everyone. Yep.
Before Men.
Before Men. Those ones are really close. E2E and Men. Well, no. E2E and Me are really close. They're within 0.2.
Men is slightly lower. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
0.65. Yeah.
And then we have a drop down to Bopes and All in Good Time, Fake Nudes, Silverball, and Grinning Streak. What I find most interesting is when I was going through this earlier, I did not expect this at all. You and I are almost nearly the same in terms of our ranking of the albums.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So it's kind of neat. Now I'm going to do one more quick change here.
You guys clearly like Bopes more than I do, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that was your favorite album, man.
No, Bopes is not.
No, Maybe You Should Drive.
Oh, Maybe You Should Drive. I thought I was Born on a Pirate Ship.
No, I've already, yeah, with Bopes, my issue has always been, I feel like there's a lot of good, strong stuff at the beginning, and then the second half to me
peters out.
So it's a very inconsistent album for me.
All right, so if you look a little further down on the list, you're going to see another really interesting scoring.
I see that Jeff rated Maybe You Should Drive Divide by 0.
Well, that's because he hasn't rated it yet. So, looking down a little bit further, I have also split it up by writer. Once again, we're only about halfway through the albums at this point, and the songs at this point. But, the way it's going right now, Aaron, your favorite writer is Paige Duffy.
No surprise at all.
Followed up by Paige.
Not even a little bit.
Nope.
Not even a little bit.
Nope. I would have called that a mile away.
Yeah, it's not surprising at all. So, Jeff, your favorite artist is by far no like if, ands, or buts about it. Stephen Page.
Yeah. The dark stuff. That's
same.
Then followed up by Paige Duffy.
Yep.
Those are the two that are in the 4s for both of you, and then it drops off to 3s after that. And the same thing for me with Stephen Duffy and Paige Duffy. Stephen Page and Paige Duffy, right there, in the 4s.
Your Paige Robertson is pretty high, though, too.
My Paige Robertson, if you average Paige Robertson and Robertson Page, it still comes out to above a 4. So I really love it when the two of them collaborate. More than I like it when Ed writes separately.
And
wow, you're really hating on Andy there.
We only have one Andy song, so I either really liked the Andy song or I didn't, and we'll have one more Andy song coming up. So that leads me to what we have coming up this year. Next year, we're going to be covering a lot of letters. Next year, we are covering J, K, L, M, N, and we get 3/4 of the way through O.
Wow.
We are going to start picking up speed big time this year. So I'm actually a little bit excited, to be honest, about the speed this year.
I'm looking at some of these. Did they cover O Yoko?
They did cover O Yoko.
I actually really like that song. It's a sweet song.
Oh Yoko. Oh.
It is a surprise because it is not the song I would have thought they would have covered, and we'll go into more of that. But yeah, they did a John Lennon raising money raiser for John Lennon, and that was the song that they covered.
Now I this might be tipping the hat. I promise I won't remember. was that with Stephen Page, or was that after he left?
That was with Stephen Page.
Oh, I would love to have heard him singing Instant Karma. Or Watching the Wheels. Ed would be good on Watching the Wheels.
Oh, yes. There are so many songs I would have loved to have heard them
I like
cover
Oyoko.
instead of
No,
him.
it's a really good song. It's a solid
My
song.
guess is all the other songs were taken by the time that they got that far, and they're like, you know what's a really good one anyways? Yeah. Oyoko is a really good one anyways.
Good song. It always makes me think of Rushmore.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great film. Love that film.
And I'm sure they're like, hey, this is a nice little callback to Be My Yoko Ono, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that definitely seems appropriate.
Are we bringing back Dean Friedman for McDonald's Girl?
Ooh, I would love to do that.
He probably would do it.
I'm going to write that down.
Because he still responds and stuff and retweet, he's still, pretty active. So I think he might come back and do that.
I will write to him on that.
We got a 5-song coming up in a few weeks in the new year. We got my song.
I'm guessing it's the King of Bedside Manor, because I've heard whispers about how great this song is before from
that's
many
not
people.
it, but I do love that song.
Okay.
I love that song. No, when we get into the else, one of my favorite songs is in the else.
We are going to hit some major songs this year. We're also going to hit some really, really deep cuts this year. I think it's around 7 deep cuts. 7 or 8 deep cuts. Including Material Girl.
I'm assuming that's a deep cut.
That is a deep cut.
Yeah, I didn't know they covered that either.
All the way back to the yellow tape.
Wow.
We are going to be covering Joseph Brown, which is an original that was not on any album except for their demo tapes. We are going to cover Laser Team, which is a post Steven song. And for that one, guys, we're going to actually have to review a movie too. So you got a couple months to do that.
Okay, interesting.
We're going to cover Legal Age Life at a Variety Store, which is a cover of the Rheostatics.
Okay.
We are going to be covering Lilac Girl, which again, it goes all the way back to the Yellow Tape and Buck Naked.
Yeah, right, yeah.
We're going to be covering Little Green Bag, which is their cover of a very famous song for a Quentin Tarantino film.
Reservoir Dogs, yeah.
But it's their own, and it's very different, and it is one of the best duets I have heard in a long time. So we'll be going over that this year.
Then we have Little Tiny Song.
Then we have Little Tiny Song. Aptly named Little Tiny Song. We're also going to do their cover of Make My Heart Fly. We're going to do the cover of McDonald's Girl this year.
I'm very curious about that.
We will be covering their cover of
Fantastic
Maybe
song.
You're... Yeah.
Sorry. It's such a good song.
It is. We will be covering their cover of... Oh, hold on. Not their cover. Where is it? Hold on. I lost myself.
I never do anything.
Where is it? Uh-oh. I might have one missing off my list, and that is not
Night
okay.
Photographs is a deep too. That was...
No, I'm missing an M. And I know I'm missing an M because we're going to be covering the song that Steven... Oh, wait. You know what? It's under ours. Really don't know. That's R. We won't be covering that this year.
Night Photographs we get to. That was off
we get
Buck
to
Naked,
Night
right?
Photographs.
Yeah.
Buck Naked. We will be covering... just making sure I haven't missed any going through here so far.
Then looks like around November, December, you're going to have to give me a 3 or 4 hour episode.
We are hitting some major ones, especially at the end of this year.
Yeah.
And depending on if we have any interviews, those might get bumped to next year. We'll see, but I'm going to vote for hopefully getting some good interviews this year. Because we got no interviews in 2020, but that's kind of apt for 2020.
Well, I think, what do we have? We have Aretha coming on.
No, it's Urethra.
Urethra's coming on, right.
Yeah.
Famed Aretha Franklin impersonator.
Come on, please come.
Please come on the show. We know you listen.
I believe Brie Larson's episode will be sometime around May or something like that. Please come on the show.
Now, I do also want to add in, we did have an email this week, so I want to go over that email because she asked us a question, and I want to make sure if you feel comfortable answering it, I'm going to answer it, and you guys can also answer it. We have a letter from Betsy Humphrey Horowitz.
Hi, Betsy.
Hello, Betsy.
And she says, I really love your podcast. 2 exclamation marks there.
Wow, thank you twice.
I listen to it on my work commute and when I want to drown out the sound of my 4-year-old daughter's TV shows.
I get that.
I absolutely understand that.
Completely understand.
She said, I was just listening to 789 and you mentioned everyone is from Maine.
Yes.
And she comes from southern Maine herself. I'm not going to say where. And she was just curious where in Maine the people are from that are in Maine. I will answer for me that I originally come from the northern Maine area, the Bangor, Maine, which you're not going to consider that northern Maine, I know, Betsy, but Bangor has always been northern Maine to me. So I come from around that area, but currently I'm living in the southern Maine area, or for what to me is more central Maine, which is in the Lewiston Basic area. Does anyone else feel like you have shared many times, Jeff, that you're from Lancaster, PA?
I am from Lancaster, PA. Yes, actually, just a little outside of Lancaster in a small town called Lidditz. But it was once named one of the coolest towns in America or something like that. But yeah, just we're known for our chocolate factory here. Not the big chocolate factory down the road, but.
Now, aren't there like a lot of Amish communities in that area? Or
yes.
Yeah, because I seem to remember seeing like shops with handmade wooden furniture and stuff like that.
It wasn't uncommon. For a while, I worked out around like the New Holland area on the outskirts of Lancaster, and it wasn't uncommon. Like, or sometimes when I take my kids back on the weekends, we'll get stuck behind 8 buggies. So it's
that's
a
cool.
common.
That's
common
cool. That's
thing.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Aaron, would you care to share what area of Maine that you're in?
Well, I grew up in what I would consider to be central Maine, but I now live in what I think a lot of people consider to be central Maine, but I would think it's almost southern Maine. But no, it's not. It's not the southern Maine that people from Massachusetts live in. So I guess if that's your benchmark, I also live in fabulous Lewiston. I've been living here for quite some time now with my new job, and well, not so new anymore. But yeah, it's a place I moved for a decent job. It turned into a decent career, so I'm happy that I did it, and I have a lot of great friends, and there's a lot of really cool people who live here, including Tracy lives in the area. So it's been good to me.
And I don't think Stefan would mind me sharing, because we've mentioned it a couple times on the show, that he lives on the coast in Maine. I don't want to get more specific without him being here and wanting to say specifically himself. But yes, he is from coastal Maine. Both living from and living in. I
used to live in Biddeford, which was sometimes referred to as Lewiston by the Sea.
That's true. And I think that's apt.
Yeah, I think so too. I like Biddo as well.
Now, I do have some good news, guys.
Oh, I love good news.
I got a email this week from podstatus.com, which is a website that does averages of different podcasts and where they're at with rankings. I think we're doing relatively well. In the last 30 days, in the United Kingdom, we're in position number 57 in the category of music interviews.
Wow.
Whoa.
I will take that. That is wonderful news right there.
Must be all my English turns of phrase people are taking note of.
That's what it is, yeah.
Definitely. I like the way that mate said, take the piss, even though we can't do a British accent. I like that.
It sounds more like a person trying to do a British
taking
accent.
The Mickey.
Here in America, we're not doing
Andy
as well.
Cregan episode.
I think that
we just
probably
lost our British audience. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mill, please come back on the show to help bring us some more cred again. In the United States, we're at position 194 in the same category of music interviews. So we need to up our game on music interviews here in the US.
More interviews. Yeah, I'm down for more interviews.
Yeah. And in Canada, we're at 215. So, like, we need
Ed,
to
please come on
improve
the
our
show.
status. Yes. Ed, Tyler, Kevin,
by all means.
Maybe even Jim. No, definitely Jim. Please come on the show. Your resource, Franklin, you're going to send us over the top.
Are you too good for your brother, Jim? Gauntlet has been thrown.
He even played music on the show.
It's
Jim.
true. That was I love that interview.
That was one of my favorite moments of the year.
Yeah, that was really super cool.
That was. And I honestly do think, like, it's going to be a fun year. We have a enormous amount of songs that I'm looking forward to covering because I love these songs. But I think, like, even the ones that I'm not like, woohoo! I'm going to enjoy listening to and going, maybe I actually like this song a little more than I thought I did. That's how I felt about I Saw It. Like, when I listened to I Saw It, I hadn't listened to it a long time, and I was like, wow, I actually really like this song a lot more than I thought I did. And I'm looking forward to that.
Hearing people talk about it helps too. Like, if you're in a conversation, I know I've changed my vote, like, going into a show based on what Aaron says or what you say, Tracy. Like, that'll change my views a little. Like, some knowledge gets dropped or something.
Yeah. So please join us for another year. Tell people that you know that you enjoy this show and have them listen to it. Put it, definitely, if you can, give us a ratings on iTunes. That does help bump us up on the list so more people will listen. And when we get it out, I really hope to have some people go over and enjoy the Patreon page. I know in hearing Jeff and Stefan talk about their reviews so far, I have been laughing extremely, which is part of the reason my voice is.
It's like easy work for you. You get to just sit back and.
Oh yeah, and it's part of the reason my voice is actually halfway gone tonight. Is I spent last night editing some of the episodes and I just lost my voice laughing.
You didn't edit the one from last week yet, did you?
Yeah, that was one of the ones I edited. That was a lot of editing that week.
Yeah, that one went off the rails pretty quick.
It was fun though.
It was fun. It was a good time.
And you'll find that we do have a lot of fun on those episodes. They aren't just us rehashing stuff. Jeff and Stefan end up coming in with stuff that I never would have thought to have or to have said about these songs. So it's actually a lot of fun. And you don't have to listen to me. That's not me trying to say a LeVar Burton line of you don't have to take my word for it. That's me saying you literally don't have to listen to me. It's those two mostly talking. It's wonderful. I know listening and editing, that's one of my favorite things. I'm like, I don't have to hear my own voice. This is great. You guys, it's been a wonderful year. Jeff, I am super happy that you have come on and joined us as a full member. That's one of the great things that did happen this year. It doesn't seem like this year, but really it did. It happened about a month or two in to this year, and you bring great insight and joy and hilarity every week. I really appreciate you being on here, and you and Stefan both. So thank you so much for joining us. And
it's no problem. I joke a lot, but if I'm just being straight up serious, doing this has been a highlight for me. It's something I look forward to every week. It's especially this year, which has been nuts and it's been crazy. I mean, it's getting together with some good friends. You and Aaron and Stefan have all become good friends. The guests, and it's something I need every week. And talking about music that I love Bare Naked Ladies. So I don't know what stars aligned to bless me with this chance to be on the show, but I don't take it for granted at all. I absolutely love doing this and hearing you guys talk and being able to be part of it.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad that you were able to join, Jeff. Not to get maudlin, but it's really nice to have another voice and another opinion, and someone else who's very much into music too. Is really cool to be able to talk with a musician and kind of. You can try and catch me missing chords or something in the breakdown. So it's nice, keep me on my toes. But no, in all seriousness, it's really great to have your perspective, and I'm really glad that you decided to come on full time. So it's good to have you.
Thanks.
Happy New Year's, L'chaim.
Happy New Year's, everyone.
Happy New Year's, everyone, and thanks. That was fun.
Thanks, that was fun. Don't forget, no regrets. Except maybe one.
Here's to 2021 being a better year than 2020.
Amen.
It wouldn't take much.
No, that's a low bar.
I cannot limbo under that bar.
2020 is the how's the level of years.
Yeah.
Oh.
You all right there, Tracy? Don't die.